It's partly about stuff that happens in the breaks. That's what it is. It's about the stuff that happens in the breaks. Back in the 90s, I had another trio. We were trying a lot of different things with rhythm, and it was very spacious and very collective. And that was sort of the foundation for this trio in general, which was not really soloistic in orientation. I mean, there was soloing, but that wasn't the main thing that was happening. The main thing that was happening was evolution of grooves and spaces and textures and things like that. Soloing kind of contributes to that process, but it's not the point of the process. The point of the process is to go on this collective journey and hopefully get somewhere.
He's allowing us and calling upon us to be fully ourselves.
Sure.
Basically bring everything of yourself to it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's this constant creativity happening with sound. I've learned a lot about how to listen by working with both of them. Marcus is constantly making changes as he plays, introducing new sounds as he plays. You'll see him retune the drum set in the middle of a song, or swap cymbals, make some pretty radical maneuvers in the middle of a song, on stage.
I certainly retuned, in between takes for sure. When it's live though, I do like in the middle of a song, but yeah, definitely at different sounds for different pieces, I was hearing different things, so.
Stephan has been the same way. I mean, you can see him really exploring the full range of dynamics and really like opening up the function of the bass player, so it's not always holding down a line. One of his great strengths is that he's not trying to get up in your face as a bass player, but he's actually very dedicated to the foundation. But he also has subtle and creative and sort of radical ways of doing that. You don't often hear a piano trio anchored by arco bass. That's pretty different.
It's rare that groups get to play together for so long.
How many years has it been?
15.
This year, September, it'll be 12.
Feels like 40.
Feels like 50, man.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
In fall of 2013, we did a collaboration with a dear friend of mine, the novelist Teju Cole. He wrote a fantastic book called Open City. He has a cycle of excerpts from the novel that are all about birds in New York City.
A massive canopy of starlings.
So those were the excerpts that he ended up reading with us, and so we kind of embedded them in these different pieces of music.
I was really happy that he decided to bring some of those pieces to this actual recording. There's something about that whole suite that I really enjoyed.
Thelonious Monk is my biggest influence of all time. He's, to me, one of the most important artists of the 20th century. And I've learned so much from listening to him, and I think about him every day. So Blood Count was written by Billy Strayhorn. It was the last piece he wrote, or his untimely death. You can hear him sort of contemplating his own mortality. And I always had a real appreciation for Strayhorn's music. There's a lot of heart in it, even though it's a little bit sentimental. And he was very young when he wrote a lot of these classic pieces like Lush Life, yet had this incredible harmonic richness and sophistication and elegance. His music has always spoken to me. So, with the Coltrane, I remember trying to play it with Steve Coleman in the 90s, but he would do it and he would set it into these kind of insane rhythmic systems so that you kind of had to think about 5 things at once. The rhythm itself has some connection to West African drumming, particularly the drummer from Cameroon named Brice Wassi, who's been a big influence on Marcus and is someone I've listened to for a long time as well.
Countdown was different. We've never played with him like that before. Where it's
Definitely,
like,
no.
He's like, no.
Yeah.
Never. Basically, it starts off solo, and then it's duo, and then it's trio. I guess some things do start off like that, actually. Smokestack was kind of like that.
And he realized it's better to have you come in.
It's just,
Yeah.
this is better.
It's just
Just better.
We actually kind of adopted Coltrane's strategy, which is on Giant Steps. He plays duo with Art Taylor, the drummer, for a while. And so they're playing the form, but it actually just feels like fire and air. They're flying. It's amazing. When we do it, it feels, with Marcus and me, it sounds more like water and something else. I don't know why it's...
It's definitely a different sound, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a completely different sound.
Yeah.
We've never recorded anything that sounded like this before.
One point of inspiration for me was looking at the history of hip-hop. A friend of mine, Jeff Chang, wrote a book called Can't Stop, Won't Stop, which is a history of the music and the social movement of hip-hop. You know, he was looking at the very beginnings with this guy, Kool Herc. He sort of invented DJing. He would throw his own parties, and he found that these breakdowns in a song, like the part often after the second chorus, when suddenly all the instruments cut out except, say, the drums and rhythm guitar or something like that. And that might be this little 4 or 8 bar stretch. And suddenly he realized that everybody wanted to dance in that little space, this little space where no music is happening, you know, although everything is happening in that moment. It's basically a place where people feel like it's their turn to do something. And then he figured out that he could actually loop that section if he had 2 copies of that record and he had 2 turntables, and figured out how to do it. And then he said that when people heard that happen in their favorite song, suddenly the breakdown would be extended sort of indefinitely. They'd go crazy. And they had all kinds of time to do their thing. And new stuff would happen in the break, you know? And that's sort of the foundation of that music, but it's actually the foundation of a lot of music and a lot of things. So I guess in general I'm kind of interested in how things grow in places when they're given space and when you least expect it. And that's sort of the story of this trio.